Today, diving on in to one of the most overpowered shots in Season 2 PGA Tour 2K25. Do not forget to like, do not forget to subscribe. Check out all the videos. We got full build series out. My main build, the Magician build, all the way down to the Greenskeeper build. All 5 of them, 99 overall, how I build my versions. Tweak it however you want, but it's all out there for you. Definitely go check all that out. But today, it's all about the choke tee shots, the choke to pro shots, and whether or not this is the most overpowered shot in the game. Why is this shot becoming so relevant now? I pay attention to all your comments, and people have been asking me to retest this and re-look into this because early in Season 1, when the game first came out, I pretty much have always steered away from the choke tee shots, the choke to pro shots, because it really wasn't necessary. The game, for full shots, you can pretty much hit perfects pretty easily. And on top of that, you just didn't see the boost necessary. You're essentially restricting your distance and limiting your distance to a certain range, and you weren't seeing a big enough boost. So I've always kind of steered away from these. But now it's more relevant than ever. Season 2, they tuned and tweaked a whole bunch of settings to make this game more difficult, which is very good. I fully support what they've done. They're doing a fantastic job with a lot of these updates, and it's really great to see that they're listening to feedback and they're continuously improving this game. But now that the legend and the master and the pro difficulties are getting more and more difficult, we have to find ways to hit the ball straighter, to hit the ball more accurately. So we're going to dive on in. Now, the choke tee shot here, what it does, it's essentially you grip down on the club so you have more control over the club, and it's supposed to increase your forgiveness windows. The ball's not going to go as far. You can see there. It flies within the same window, and I'll talk about whether or not the wind is affecting it as much, but it's just going to land a little bit shorter. It should roll out a little bit more, and we're going to test and show you exactly all about it. And the same thing goes for the choked approach shot. So choked approach shot here, same exact thing. So if you've seen all my build videos, just know that this has been a testing in the last day. Last night I tested it, so my tee skills are changed here. So make sure you pay attention to this if you have not, because this is how I have my driver set up now, and then this is how I have my approach set up now. So we'll do a future what's in the bag video for you guys, but this is how I have it set up. Now let's talk into the actual difference makers. So here's the graph up here of the 2 different types between a regular shot and a choked shot. So it's the same benefit for the driver and for the irons. It's also the same benefit for the contact and the swing path. You're seeing a 28% increase in your forgiveness cone. So the cone is the window in which like your percentages will be lower. You'll hit the ball a little bit straighter. So you're going to see a 28% increase in that forgiveness cone between the choke shot and the regular shot. When it comes down to your little ticker, the little ticker at the top or the bottom in this situation is very, very important. Now, why is that important? Because if you hit that ticker, you're going to get a perfect swing. It's not going to be a plus percentage or a minus percentage. It's going to be a perfect swing. It's going to go right where you want it to go, and it's going to pretty much go straight. That little box increase between the choke shot and the regular shots is a 38% increase. These are massive differences. How does that relate? How does that equate? It's essentially putting it back on the master difficulty, and this is the master difficulty. This is essentially putting it back to where the master difficulty was in Season 1. It's also kind of like an equivalent of in Season 2 playing master versus playing on pro. So you're essentially playing master, but you're hitting choke shots when it comes down to a pro level because those forgiveness window increases. Now, obviously, these can vary based off of how you have your attributes, but based off of what I've seen consistently across the board, the cone 28%, 38% when it comes down to the actual boxes. Now let's talk about when it comes down to height of the golf ball, right? Is it actually flying the same height? The answer is yes, it is actually flying just about the same height. Now you can see here, I left the little arc on for you guys, the 7-iron here, and now I'll switch to the choked approach shot. You can see it goes just a fractional lower, just a fractional lower. You can see the arc here is at the top of the wind meter, and then it's about at 2/3 to 3/4 of that actual meter. So it's flying just below it, but pretty much the exact same height. Now that will play a huge factor into the wind, which we'll cover here in a second. But what I want to show you first is I want to show you stopping power, spin power, right? So for example, we're going to hit the 62-degree wedge here, and we're going to just see stopping power of a regular shot. And I am on perfect swing, so you guys can fully see testing. Pay attention to the numbers, right? So to pay attention to the numbers, it's going to land 98, and it's going to spin back pretty much to 99. So goes up a little bit to the 100, spins back just a fraction. So and you got to remember, I do have full maxed out very fast greens, very firm greens on this. So this is going to be the worst case scenario. If you're playing on softer greens, it's not going to make as much of a difference. Now, obviously, one of the big factors of the choke shot is it limits you, where like a regular shot, you can really move into a lot of different spots. But when it comes to the choke shot, you really only can move it within a 4-yard window. So you're going to lose about 5 yards of total distance, and you really have a 4 to 5 yard window. But this is why power is so important when it comes to your irons and all of your wedges, because you'll be able to hit these choke shots a lot of the time simply because you'll have bigger windows to hit them into. So I'm going to max out this choked wedge shot so you can see, and just remember, it hit about 2 yards in front and then it rolled back a little bit for stopping power. Now we hit the choke shot. It hits 94, goes to 96, spins back a little bit, but it doesn't make it all the way back to 95. So that's going to be pretty consistent across all clubs. It rolls out just a little bit more than a full shot. It doesn't have as much spin on it. It rolls out, I would say, about 1 to 3 yards depending on the club. If it's like a wedge, it would be about an additional yard. It would roll out, where if it's like I'll show you a 7-iron here. We'll use an 8-iron just so that way you can see. So an 8-iron 174, hit the full shot here. Just remember, I am on perfect swing. So 174, it lands, and then it rolls out to 180. So that's an additional 6 yards there. Now I'm going to hit a full choke shot, so 165. It rolled out 6 yards with the other one, so that would be 170 is the end number. But you're going to see somewhere closer to about 173 because it rolls out an additional yard or so. So it landed at the 167, 172, 173. So an additional yard or two. So that's one of the big factors that you have to consider when you're approaching the greens with these shots. It will roll out. And remember, this is very fast, very firm green. So this is worst case scenario. If you're on anything soft, it's most likely not going to affect it whatsoever. When it came down to the wind shots, I actually saw the ball is flying lower, especially into the wind. Everything is affected less on the choked approach shots, which is very good, especially when it comes down to hitting shots into like very windy greens. I would reduce everything by about a yard or two. So if your final calculation comes out to, say you're hitting a 150-yard shot into the wind, your final calculation is I have to hit 162 yards to get to the pin. If you're hitting a choked approach shot, I would reduce it by that 2 to 3 yards. So I would only hit a 160-yard shot instead of hitting the 162-yard shot, because I saw a slight decrease in the actual numbers, about 1 to 3 yards there. So 1 to 3 yards, an extra rollout, but when you're hitting into the wind, you save 1 to 3 yards simply because it's flying lower and it's being less affected by the wind. Let me know what you guys think about the choked approach shot, but moving forward, I hit this shot a ton in my live stream. If you have not seen that, go check that out. Do not forget to like, do not forget to subscribe. A lot of videos coming your way. Appreciate you all. Don't forget, no live stream on Wednesday, but we will be back in 2 weeks. Don't forget to like and subscribe.